My guest today is someone who's been called a quiet force behind the modern men's work movement. And once you've spent a few minutes with him, you'll understand why. John O'Connor is an executive coach, facilitator, speaker, and certified NLP trainer with over 20,000 hours of coaching experience. For more than a decade, he's worked with top CEOs, founders, post exit entrepreneurs, hedge fund managers, and elite performers, helping them break through their internal barriers, sharpen their leadership, and align with a deeper sense of purpose. John's real gift is the work underneath the work, the conversations about fatherhood, presence, discipline, and what it actually means to lead yourself before you lead anyone else. John, welcome to the show.
Dude, great to have you here. It's been a long time coming. I think
It has been.
probably when did you and I first meet at the NLP Center? Was that like 13 years ago?
I think it's been more than that.
More than
So
that.
yeah, I was at the NLP Center after I graduated, well, during actually college, and then after as well a little bit. So now I'm
You were
40.
young
So
back then.
yeah,
I think you were in your 20s. Yeah, because I
yep,
started coaching in 2009. I think in maybe 2011 is 2011 is when I
yeah.
think I started at the NLP Center. And I think you and I might have been in a hypnosis class together or
Yep, we were in a class together. You also taught me one of my classes, which was really good, the NLP and sales training,
oh, the
which is
NLP
really
and sales
powerful.
trading. Yes, that was really cool. That
Yep.
was super foundational in my developmental process. We can unpack that a little bit because it kind of fits into, some of the way that I help people grow, develop, and evolve by
Yeah.
creating containers that pull an aspect of them forward. Sorry, my dog is crying. She sleeps and she goes, has these nightmares and she's under my feet. So if you hear some like whining and crying, it's just she's having nightmares. So,
What's your dog's name?
Charlie, she's a French water dog. Super cute,
Ah,
super tender,
nice.
really sweet,
Well,
stinky, but.
well, if she wants to make a guest appearance on the show,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
welcome to throw a
Okay,
paw
cool.
up or something.
All right, so yeah, I'm sure she will.
Well,
Uh,
it's funny. I look older and you look the same.
wow. Okay, that's cool. I'll be
Right?
52 this year, and
Damn.
someone asked me like why I look so young, and well, first I think it's genetics, right? I mean, I gotta say, yeah, I did all these things. I do take care of myself, but I think the number one driver for me has been stopping drinking 25 years ago. I mean, I got sober at 25, 25, 26. Took me about a year, but I think the from 12 to 25, I had a pretty heavy alcohol experience, sort of lifestyle, right? I was
Yeah.
heavy drinker, heavy pot smoker up until I was 26, 25, 26. I say 25, 26 because I stopped at 25, but it took me about a full year of coming in and out before I actually fully committed. We call it
Yep.
doing research, where you're like, this isn't working for me anymore, but I can't stop. I try to stop for a few weeks and then I go back, right? I went to that back and forth, but that's been the biggest driver because, I look at some of the people I grew up with who still party hard and drink hard. When you
Yeah.
start to get in your 50s, all that stuff starts to age you pretty quickly, you know.
Yep. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
wild. So you started 12 years old when you started doing some of this stuff, yeah?
My first memory was vanilla extract. Was
Yeah.
like my first alcohol memory was like I remember putting a chair, climbing the cabinet, going up to the top and drinking vanilla extract. That was like my first experience. That like
Yeah.
a visceral experience. And then my first beer, I was in eighth grade, and it was with the kid who bullied me for like 6 years. Like
Yeah.
waited for outside of school for me every day. Like I'd have to like climb through windows. I had bodyguards, like the two kids, the big kids in the class would walk me out because I just get my ass kicked. And
Jeez.
so I remember having a beer with this kid who was like my nemesis, who was big and just a brawler, who just stalked me in a way, right? But I remember having this beer and like having this connecting moment with this kid who like I hated for most of my grammar school years, and so
Yeah.
that like alcohol as a bonding kind of experience, and I
That'll
remember
ma
that viscerally too.
That's crazy. Yeah, that'll massively rewire your association to alcohol.
Big rewatch,
All,
yeah. So in the
all of a sudden, you're
beginning,
like not getting beaten up and you're friends with the guy that used to kick your ass.
totally, yep,
Yeah, wow.
yeah. And it's interesting when you talk about the rewiring, right? Because usually when I'm talking to people, and this is a conversation I have a lot with people who have achieved everything, right? Family, marriage, success in business, 40s, 50s years old. Like the one thing that they say that they need to kind of transcend is alcohol,
Hmm.
right? It's not a main part of my conversation. It's not like the where I place a lot of my focus in my work, but it comes up repeatedly. And so I usually say we need a strong negative anchor that
Mm.
when you stop and you think about it, the first somatic response, like the trigger, is a negative one. It's a
Yep.
like when I think about drinking, I want to vomit. Like even now, 25 years later, when I think about having a drink, I'm just like, oh, fuck, that's exhausting. It's still when I think about it right now, I just got exhausted. Like
Yeah.
I have a very, very, very strong negative anchor to alcohol, and that keeps me from romancing the stone, which is like, oh, if I can just have one drink, I just want one glass of wine. I want to. What if I sit by a fire with this beautiful woman and all the fantasies, right?
Yep.
That's false.
Wow.
There's
How did
nothing
you
on the other side of that.
how'd you create that negative anchor?
I got my ass kicked. It's,
Ah,
well, I was with a friend of mine who
that's wild.
I
So you
got yeah,
got
it was
so it helped you not get your ass kicked, but then eventually you got your ass kicked to like install the anchor again.
what an interesting beginning and end, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, we were at a bar and I was talking to the bartender and she looks over, I hear this commotion and she's like, isn't that your friend? And I looked over and the guy I went with getting his ass kicked by like six guys, like pummeling him. And apparently he thought he saw someone from high school. So, I grew up in Staten Island, right? Like, behind him, bear hug this guy, be like, "What's up?" And it wasn't his friend. And so the guy turned around and just like pummeled him. And
Oh,
so I'm like, I go in there and like I pull him out. I'm like, all right, guys, he is a dick. I get it. Thank you. I've been trying to do this. I've been trying to like use comedy to like exit this fight. And this guy came out of nowhere, didn't even see it, and he clocked me right in the jaw. And I remember when I got my green belt in Vada Kempo, must have been like 16 or 17. To get my next belt, I had to do 45 minutes of Shark Tank, where
mm,
you fight and then people just keep cycling in and they just exhaust you and they beat the shit out of you. Like I was getting pummeled for 45 minutes in my training in my fighting class. And I remember once I got hit, there was had to be seven people. And then the bouncer joined in, beating the crap out of us. Then the owner joined in, beating the crap out of us. But this was the only hit to my face because I was able to kind of cover up and find my way out. But that was like one of those moments where I could have died, right? I could have been killed. It's not fun running from getting your ass kicked, So it was a lot of shame, a lot of fear, and then just these moments of like, what am I doing? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm drunk. I'm at this bar with a bunch of douchebags. Like, why? What am I doing? Like, and that was the next day. Was when I came in and I went to my first AA meeting. And my
mhm.
therapist at the time for like 8 or 9 months had been kind of like playing around with this conversation around alcohol. And my response has always been, I don't have a problem. I just drink like everybody else. Drink a couple times a week, smoke pot here and there. It wasn't in my mind. I wasn't like, oh my God, I have a problem.
Yeah.
But like he was challenging my belief system around my relationship to it for a while. He even said at one point, he's like, I can't work with you anymore until you stop. Because we're trying to get to I had some really deep traumas when I was around 8 or 9. My sister and I were hit by a car
Oof.
and it was a very violent thing where eventually she had to have her leg amputated. It was a very violent, tragic experience. I had no physical wounds, but I had like a deep PTSD. I had a deep scar,
Yeah.
which we can unpack a little bit. But in that therapy session, we were trying to get to some of these pieces, but I was so dissociated or numbing out through years and years and years of alcohol and pot use that I wasn't even able to access it. And he's like, listen, I want to help you, but I can't because you keep numbing out and I can't get to the thing that's really underneath the hood. Because usually, and this is what I say to everybody, if you want to know why you do something, stop doing it.
Mm,
2 or 3 weeks later, all that stuff that you've been suppressing of why you do what you do is going to come to the surface, right?
mm.
And so, if you're aware, going, huh, I wonder why I drink, stop for 90 days and stay conscious as to like the dysregulation, the inability to regulate your mood. We outsource. I think from the keynote that you were at that I did for James, we talked about like outsourcing your inner pharmacist.
Yep.
where it's like I'm outsourcing to alcohol to create these chemicals that help me to regulate my nervous system. But when you take that away, now you have to have the skills to regulate yourself. And most people are underdeveloped in their ability to handle high pressure, high tense situations, complexity. I mean,
Mm.
as you and I get older and older, complexity just begins to compound. You have kids, family, wives, businesses, payroll, investors, teams, headwinds, Iran, bombs. I mean, like the amount of stuff that clients are trying to navigate, and then they come home and they have a little one that wants their attention. Like you got to be able to transition and shift. You have to have a regulated nervous system. You got to have a level of self mastery. Otherwise, you're going to get swamped. And then you're going to drink because you can't handle it and you can't shut your mind off. Right. So,
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. That's a great, if you want to know why you do something, stop doing it.
yeah, I mean, like you want to know why you defend yourself, stop defending yourself.
Yep.
See what happens.
Yep.
Right. It's like, and then you start to get to the layer behind the defensiveness, which is, we can go into the defensiveness piece, which I think about these things through the lens of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which, most people know what it is. It's got grappling art, right? You kind of put a gi on or no, kimono and you choke each other out. All right. There's no punching, which I enjoy because I don't like getting punched in the face, as you know. I had too many of those experiences growing up. But in jiu-jitsu, there is a developmental mindset, which is from white to black belt. And in my path to black belt, I'm a purple belt. In my path to black belt, I always thought I get to black belt and you're done. I've mastered. I'm a master now, right?
Yeah.
And in all of the professors that I've trained with that are like incredible, top guys in the sport, they all say you get to black belt and your journey starts. So it's this weird thing was as once I get to black belt, now I'm really in a deeper level of learning. So it
Mm.
never stops. It's never, and I tell this story all the time about JT Torres, who I trained with for a long time, fourth degree black belt. He would bring in professors and he would be the first person in the first row with a notebook
Yeah.
writing down notes. And this guy's incredible. They call him Spider-Man. He was watching, listening, learning versus I know that. I know that. I know that. I know how to do that. I don't need to listen. But he listened. He was looking for that little tiny edge. And I always use that as like an internal metaphor when I'm learning. Anytime I think I got something, like I always just hear his voice. It's like, oh yeah, can you do it when I'm smothering you and you can't breathe and you're at
Mm.
your edge and you're exhausted and you haven't slept? Can you do it then? Under what conditions can you do it when it's sunny and everything is great? Sure, I can be regulated when I'm on vacation. It's like, and then you go home and then your wife says something and it triggers you. Can you do it then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And that goes into the self mastery piece.
yeah, which is
I,
never ending.
yeah. I was going to say, how do you, again, you've done over 20,000 coaching hours, which is insane and amazing. How do you even kind of just start people down that path to, because to me it's really it's all about self mastery and it does never end, right? But I love
Sure.
the just taking that first step. I just did, I think we talked about Vipassana, which I did, which was amazing. I love that meditation practice. And same thing, right? The path on Dhamma, it's really just understanding your true nature, which never ends, right? Which is why I love the practice so much, where you do it every day, ideally twice a day. But
Yeah.
same thing with this, right?
Really hard to do.
Yeah.
Really hard to
Yep.
do. It's interesting, like if you think about Buddhism, at its core, fundamentally, like says it all, right? Like the Four Noble Truths, like life is suffering, right? Just in and of itself. It's not something that happens to you, it's a natural part. And this is something that I had to learn when I was shifting my relationship to trauma, like
Mm.
big T trauma, and also little T trauma, like little developmental traumas that happen. But the big T trauma is in my assumption was it should not have happened to me, right? It happened to me. And that's terrible, right? And look, what happened to me sucked. Like there's many things that happened to me sucked, right? But trauma occurs. It's what happens along the path of being human. And this idea around post-traumatic growth, shout out to Will Vanderveer, who wrote a book called Psychedelic Therapy. I just had him on my podcast, the Reframe podcast that I started. And we talked about this sort of post-traumatic growth. It never really got, I mean, I've known about it for a really long time. It's something that I work with myself and others, but it hasn't really caught on. And I feel like in the zeitgeist. There's like post-traumatic stress. We hear about PTSD all day long, but there's post-traumatic
Yeah.
growth. Post-traumatic growth, which is like I've gone through something so catastrophic, so incredibly difficult. And as a result, I'm on a mission, I'm on a path. I've taken that and I've metabolized it, I've composted it, I've made it fertilizer to grow the most incredible fruit in my life. It doesn't take away the trauma, it doesn't reduce it, it doesn't, but it makes it meaningful and useful in some way, shape, or form. Um, so yeah, so there was a piece around mastery you asked me. I wanted to see if I can answer that question. There's a guy named Ido Portal. Do you know him? He does like the movement work. He was, I think they,
Yep.
Conor McGregor. He was the guy who kind of like did all the touch butt stuff they called about, like all the tapping and movement. And I did two workshops with him. And what was interesting was someone would ask him, how do you deal with torn rotator cuff or shoulder injury? And every single time, any question anybody ever asked about training the body, he would say, it depends.
Mm.
Depends. Because I don't know you, your history, the depth of your injury, the depth of your awareness. I don't know your connective tissue sequence. I know nothing about you, right? So I can't give you an intervention because I don't know you, right? Because everybody is different. Every system is different. And the problem is this happens a lot. You and I see this, it happens a lot in the coaching spaces where people are taking techniques and models and just laying it over everybody.
Mhm.
And everybody's different. So you have to be able to meet people and understand like a master Rolfer. I don't know if you've ever gotten
Yeah.
Rolfed,
Yeah.
go through like a 10 series where they take you through the recipe, which Ida Rolf created, right? With a sequence to unwind and create alignment in the body. But when you get to master level Rolfing, you can go into the system no matter where it is and deal with what's there, right?
Mm.
You don't have to do the sequence, right? So usually when I'm working with someone, there's that kind of assessing aspect. Now there's overarching themes and patterns and we're not unique in on a general level, but the way that manifests, the language that people use, how they associate things is different for everybody. So that's why like a lot of the people that I work with work for me for long periods of time. I mean, this is a handful of people I've been working with for almost a decade. But there's these arcs, these patterns of time. I get to really understand how someone works, how their nervous system works, how they
Yeah.
think, how they feel, how they act. And then I get to work with that, meet them where they are and make the adjustments, right? So you don't go from white to black in one jump. Um, Although when I started, this is funny because I remember going with my buddy Ezra Firestone. We went to Henzo Gracie's in Manhattan,
I used to
and
train there on 37th Street.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That.
And I asked the guys like, so how long does it take to get a blue belt? And he's like, most people take about a year. And I was like, I'll probably get it in like 3 months. I used to wrestle. I'm a pretty healthy guy. I think I was in my 30s at the time. And that first session, I vomited profusely. I vomited, right? Like, and continued to vomit multiple sessions after multiple training sessions. And it took me, I think I was a blue belt for 4 years. I was white belt for 4 years. And then I was a blue belt for 6 years, right? So here I am coming in with this inflated ego of sense of capability. I'm capable, right? I had the fun house mirror syndrome, which by the way, doing men's work for 20 years, all guys do. Either inflated or deflated sense of self, right? And the beautiful thing about jujitsu is that when
What's
you
the
when
what's the funhouse mirror syndrome? What does that mean?
so like so someone their self-image is either way bigger than it really is or way
Yep.
smaller.
Yep.
So I'm not good. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've coached that are like rock stars and they're so insecure. Their
Yeah.
sense of self is so distorted. I'm
Yep.
not good enough. I'm not capable enough. Will you love me? I need your acceptance. I need your approval. It's like, whoa, like
Yeah.
the you here and your identity is literally like stuck in
Yep.
1989. You have
Yep.
not updated it. Like, and there's it's the way I've been tracking it is it's an encoding issue of people how people encode their sense of self.
Hmm.
Um, but there was a piece there that I was tracking there.
You were saying in jujitsu when you strike, or are you done with the
Oh,
funhouse?
oh,
When
oh,
before I
yeah, yeah.
interrupted, you were talking about the striking in jujitsu.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yes, thank you. There's so many portals that open up and conversations I want to go. I got to like track it back. So the piece around the beautiful thing about jujitsu, and you know this, is I can have a sense of self, and then
Yep.
you and I spar, and I get a real like my humility, and I get put back to zero,
Yep.
right? And there's a neutralization process where the inflated sense of self gets brought to reality,
Yep.
right? And that's one of the things I love about it is that no matter how full I think I am, I get on the mat and I get ragdolled and I come
Yeah.
back very humble, you know? I don't know if you've ever
Yep.
seen that meme where it's like there's a guy driving like rocking out on his way to jiu-jitsu and then driving home there's like no music, he's driving below the speed limit. Right? He's like,
Yep.
yeah, it's just like eyes like this. That's how I drive home sometimes. Like no music, no. I'm 5 miles under the speed limit, on cruise control,
Yep.
and I just most men don't have something bringing them back to reality,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I love about I don't know, there's a humility that gets cultivated.
Yeah.
No matter how strong you think you are, there's someone way stronger. And no matter how weak you are, there's someone weaker, and there's just this sea of I'm just a man amongst men.
Yep.
And that piece around like neutralizing, talking about kind of jumping around a little bit, but neutralizing the one up, one down that happens amongst men. The cool thing about you and I haven't seen you in over a decade. We just meet each other where we are. There's no above or below. I'm a higher than you, below you. It's just neutral ground.
Yeah.
And trust is built when men meet men and it's neutral. Because you can
Yep.
see it. There's guys like sizing people up. I'm above you. I make more money. And then whatever the criteria is, I make more money than you. I'm better than you. I'm more successful than you. Whatever it is, whatever the metrics is in someone's head.
Yep.
But a lot of guys will lower or elevate because most people live in a hierarchy of like corporate America. I have a boss. I have a direct report, right? Like I'm above or below. And I just feel like in order to be happy, you have to neutralize that. You got
Yeah.
to find a way to get out of that paradigm.
Yep. I agree. And that's also kind of like a funhouse thing too, because everybody has their own internal criteria of what like status and significance is anyway, right? Where it's like, for me, it's looks. For this other guy, it's money. For this person, it's their how hot their beautiful their wife or their girlfriend is. So that's also like a kind of uh, game you can't win, right? I do love what you said about to me, it's kind of the formula for mastery, part of the formula. Where going into those arenas like jujitsu as the example, and you get your ass kicked, and then it's like that's kind of like the levels of learning unconscious incompetence, unconscious incompetence, where then you realize,
Yeah.
oh shit, like I'm not as good as I thought I was. But that's
Yeah.
actually where you need to keep going consistently to go on the path of mastery, which is also why I love this podcast, right? It's like it's the genesis of it and why I wanted to do it. Just like it's an excuse for me to talk to smart people. But whenever I do it, though, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I'm not as smart as I thought I was, or as far as I want to be. Even now talking to you, I'm like, damn, John's like really good at this stuff. I forgot. So, but it's cool because I have to remind myself, oh yeah, this is good. This is making me grow and become more
Yeah.
masterful. So I love that.
There's an interesting thing around competition where there's like a healthy competition is I'm gonna compete to like be better than you,
Yeah.
versus I'm gonna compete to improve myself.
Yep.
Right. So like for me, like I have a group of guys we meet once a month. I don't know if you know Jason Gaddis and Will Vanderveer, a bunch of really great guys. Matt Hunter. We meet once a month, and what the beautiful thing about these guys is when they share their goals, their visions, the things they're achieving. There's always a part of me that's like going, "Oh man, my goals are small."
Mm,
Like what am I doing? And it's not because I want to do something because I want to be better than them and I want to be higher or above and dominate. It's like, oh, I want to better myself. Like so the competition is super healthy and we've been doing that. They all wrote books and so now I'm like, oh, I gotta write a book now. It's like there's a healthy competition of like I'm not gonna be the only guy who's not written a book in
yeah.
this group, right? But it's competition to grow the self, to develop the self. Now, I have an interesting kind of frame around self-development, which in the beginning, when before I got sober, everything was about my next iteration, my next development, my like this becoming, this constant becoming, which you see a lot of people doing, is these breakthroughs,
Yeah.
right? Breaking through to the next level, which is great, right? But for me, what I noticed was that my breakthroughs were driven from a place of I'm not good enough now, right? So who I am and what I am is not enough. And therefore, I always need to be coming. I always need to be becoming. I always need to break through. I always need to go to the next level because this isn't good enough, right? And look, I mean, it drove me. I evolved, like I moved forward from that place. But at some point, like there has to be a switch because that can be toxic and you'll always be becoming and never be, right?
Yeah.
And there's this like to me, the mastery place is like relaxing into where you are and still, being open to growing, evolving, but from a place of understanding. Like my development comes from understanding. Like self-development is what leads to self-development. Self-understanding leads to self-development. So the more I understand, the more I develop, the more I grow, the more the more I evolve. And so my focus now is really about how do I increase my understanding of myself? How do I understand this system, which is infinite, right? And there's a million modalities, and it's incredible. But the what I have found, and there are many pathways. I'm not saying there's a right pathway. Some people it's qigong, some people it's yoga, some people it's vipassana, right? There are many pathways. I was a big fan of these like workshop, right? Like these big events. I went to Vipassana. I did all these kind of events. People now it's psychedelics, breakthrough, understanding, right? There's all these downloads.
Yep.
And there's a little piece that Stan Groff talks about spiritual emergence, which happens, or spiritual emergency. There's a big distinction there, right? And we could kind of put a pin in that because I want to wow, it's cool talking to you because I feel like there's a million directions we can go. There's so much. So
I'm loving it. This is great. Keep
like
going.
I gotta like mind map my brain sometimes. I have to be careful drinking coffee too. Um, so there was a piece around that we were just tracking before spiritual emergence and spiritual emergency. Well, where were we just before that? Um,
Yeah, I'm down the rabbit hole too. I can't pull out
yeah,
exactly.
this is the rabbit holes, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a piece there. I'll find it in a second. But this is why like this is how my brain works. Like what it's like the rhizomatic. Do you know what like the metaphor of the rhizome?
No.
So a lot of my work is based on there's two Jungian psychologists, Deleuze and Guattari, who created this thing. It's called 1,000 plateaus, and they basically take a rhizome and they built a whole model of working with the unconscious through the rhizome, right? And the rhizome is a horizontal root structure where most of the way that people orient in the world is I'm going to plant a seed, the roots are going to grow down, a tap root's going to grow down, and then a shoot's going to grow up, and then we're going to bear fruit, right? So I'm going to plant a seed in my life, and then I'm going to grow something, right? So that's typically how people orient. For us guys, and the old models were guys are very good at siloing. I got my
Yeah.
work here, I got my business there, I got this over there. Everything is separate and disconnected, right? So the rhizome is underneath the root structure. It's underneath the dirt. There's a horizontal root structure like aspen trees. You see all these aspen trees. If you go under the dirt, all the roots are interconnected. They all talk, share, feed. One is struggling, and the other roots feed that tree. Mint, ginger, mushrooms. These are all rhizomes, right? They all talk and communicate in the unconscious, and then it sprouts up as separate individual expressions, right? So when I'm working and someone is trying to scale a business, or they are scaling a business and it's big and it's huge, and I have several of these guys that are the business has gotten to a place where it's bigger than them, their
Yeah.
skills, their ability, right? And they need resource. They need resources, and it might be energy, clarity, creativity, outside the box thinking, support, nourishment, right? Um, so in other dimensions of their lives, whether it's a really healthy, deep, dynamic, vulnerable relationship with their partner, whether it's like a a deep, and this is something inspire everybody to do is developing and cultivating a stillness practice
Hmm.
where you don't have to blast out in these big events every day you're touching stillness. Every day you're coming out of your identity and you're unhooking and then you're rehooking as a practice, right? That could be a resource, right? Where you step away and you step out of your reality and you step back in. It could be like, um, wow, I go to my trainer 3 days a week and I'm pushed to my edge and I feel like I'm growing, developing, evolving my strength. That could be a resource. It could be a deep, rich, nourishing community that love you, know you, trust you, that you can go to and share and be held and support. It could be a men's group, right? Men's group for me 20 years ago was I think why I'm married, why I have kids, why I'm doing what I'm doing. That was the container, right?
Yep.
So finding a way to cultivate a rich dynamic life where everything is resourcing, where everything is aligned to a calling with your partner, what's the deepest calling, with your money setup, what's your deepest calling, with your community, what's your deepest calling, and then move in those directions. Like people are like, how do I grow? How do I get masterful? I mean, just start with what do you really want? Like right now, not what you should want, not with your, like, can you listen to like the I in the belly? Can you listen to the deeper calling that lives inside of you? And can you start to move in a direction of that calling? It doesn't even
Mm.
have to be clear. It could just be an inkling, a sense, and wow, I have a sense of like I want to do something with people. I don't know what it is, but then all of a sudden now I'm moving in these small ways toward that. Maybe I'm joining a community. Maybe I'm going to join a mastermind. Maybe, and all of a sudden there's movement, right? That's nourishing. People feel progress, development, growth, right? Tony's work, right? Happiness equals progress, right? And so, um, I think there was a piece earlier I was talking about the 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 pillars. One of those pillars is a stillness practice, and to me, I harp on that for everybody
Yep.
because when I get people to come sit for a tea ceremony with me for 90 minutes, when I'm like, hey, we're going to sit for 90 minutes in stillness and silence and drink 7 bowls of tea, they look at me like I'm freaking crazy. Like I don't sit for 90 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
And and everybody says the same thing after 90 minutes. They're like, that was amazing. How did I do that? And it's because once you step out of time, and the tea is a beautiful resource, right? It is the OG plant medicine, pu'er tea. It's like the OG, right? Once they're in this container, this intentional set and setting, they can drop in and touch that. People love it, but I'm like, you need to do it every day, or
Mm.
at least a couple times a week. You cannot
Yep.
operate masterfully like Tony. Look at how much priming he does every day. Never misses it. Like people don't realize when you get behind the hood of like high performing people, they're not just like maybe John Jones used to be able to get drunk and fight and win a but look at where he is now.
Yep.
Look at where John Jones is now. Sure, he used to do that. He would win UFC championships getting fucked up on cocaine the night before, but look at him now. Like
Yep.
sure, in that small little container, it never leads anywhere good, right?
Yep.
So there's something about like developing a rhythm and a pace of resourcing over
Yeah.
long periods of time, right?
And that otherwise you would have, was it rhizome you said?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's how you actually can expand those rhizomes in all those different dimensions versus a lot of people maybe just one dimensional, right? They're maybe like John Jones, right? They're successful even for a certain time period, but then other parts of their rhizome are limited.
100%. And
Yeah,
you'll
with
see this in, I
resources.
see this a lot of guys will come to me, or I coach women too. They'll come to me in one dimension of business, rock
Yeah.
star, Wharton grad, Harvard grad, like top of the class. I mean, just rock stars. They're incredible.
Yep.
And they've gone all in. A plus, black belt, third degree, right? And then you step back and you look at the other dimensions, and they're all kind of white belts in other
Mhm.
dimensions, which gets really hard when you're a black belt in one dimension and you've got this like underdeveloped area. A lot of times people feel a lot of shame. They
Yep.
feel very vulnerable, being like, wow, I'm so successful and I can't have a deep, intimate relationship, or I have this like crazy, weird relationship with alcohol and drugs, or I'm addicted to ketamine, whatever it is. And so they hide it. So it's like they're successful out here and then they're hiding these things in the shadows.
Yeah.
And and anything you hide will eventually control and destroy you, right? Your secrets will make you sick, always. Now, that's not me saying that. That's Jung, that's AA, that's Freud, that's anybody, right? Which is I think it was it yeah, Carl Jung, right? Like if you don't if you don't bring the things in the shadow into the conscious mind, they will control you and you'll call it fate, right? I'm kind of butchering the quote. But that piece around, well, how do I bring things out of the shadow? I mean, even for me, like my buddy Nick used to call it squirreling, where like I'd have an emotion and I tuck it away, like in the back of my jowls, and like nuclear bombs could be going off, and we're cool hanging out having a conversation, but you would never know. There's like
Yeah.
chaos going on inside, right? And I think people who are in recovery or who use or who are good at like or high performers are good at hiding
Yeah.
from people, right? And it's really hard to live a fulfilled, successful, nourishing, satisfying life when you're hiding.
Yep.
When you're living out of alignment to like a core value, it will eventually destroy you. Give it time. It might take a decade. I
Yep.
haven't seen too many people come out unscathed hiding or living partial truths. Or people coming in going, I don't know why my life is so chaotic. I don't know why I'm so unhappy. It's like, well, you've been cheating on your wife for 8 years. Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. Okay. You're wondering why your marriage is not great? Like, I'm sorry. There's a little disconnect here, you know?
Yeah. And that's the
So,
most painful, right? That's true suffering, right? Just that slow drip until hopefully one day the threshold becomes big enough where they actually do make the change. But some people, they don't
yeah.
ever do it, which is really
Yeah.
sad.
So that piece around like the Four Noble Truths, like life is suffering.
Yeah.
Um, and that suffering is you can transcend that suffering, right? Like there's a way to kind of transcend that suffering, right? And so like I just feel that that piece of life is suffering. There's a way out.
Yeah.
This is the other piece with Vipassana, you and I kind of understanding my craving and avoiding
Yep.
my lack of ability to accept what is drives the suffering. So the way out of suffering is to not resist what is.
Mhm.
On a conscious level, I understand that. On an
Yeah.
embodied life stimulus response level, to get there is a long journey. To get to a place where I can accept what is and I can be in harmony, even though I don't like it, I can be in relationship with it and not resist it or avoid it or crave something different. Like, I don't know about you, man. That's, I have to kind of remind myself weekly going, oh, well, I've been suffering. Like, okay, I just got to accept this is just what it is.
Yep.
Like just had an experience like that with my son. I had to be like, all right, wow, like I'm in total resistance to this. And I didn't even realize it until like a couple of days of like deep suffering,
Yeah.
and then I go, oh, wow, yeah, I am totally resisting this, you know. So,
And that's the path to mastery, right? That's the belts, and that's the you realizing, oh snap, like I can do it when it's beautiful out, but not sometimes when the storm comes out, it's harder to really practice that and live it.
do you find like, is there anything in your life now that you've found a deep acceptance of that you hadn't before that's created some freedom for you or ease or,
Um, well, the Vipassana was a huge shift for me because I thought I'd done, and I have done a lot of work, and I thought I was like able to control my emotions and stuff, but I realized, damn, I was so driven by cravings and aversions still after all the work I've done, all the events I've been to, all the coaching I have. So that was really cool and really refreshing and like a deeper layer of wisdom I'm able to tap into. And the practice keeps going. Like you were saying with the Four Noble Truths, that and there's also I can't remember all the proper kind of way it connects, but also the Noble Eightfold Path,
the Eightfold Path? Yeah.
part of
Right.
like Sila,
Right.
Samadhi, and
Yeah.
Panya.
Right action, right speech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that for sure. But like, yeah, man, it's just challenges in business right now, just growing there, relationship, right? We're getting married, like expanding there, like doing the wedding, like making sure it's good with family and friends, and like making sure Josephina's happy. So challenges there, and also obviously the beauty too, right? But I think
Yeah.
again to be able to expand there, you need to go through some of the resistance and challenge to grow and to tap into more of that beauty, right? So definitely that financial too, right? Like bigger financial kind of expansion, but also again like more money going out faster than I expected. We're like, oh shoot, but
Yeah.
you can't also. It's also like I can't stop it. I'm like, oh wow, like more money's
Right.
going out. I got to just go make a
Wait
lot
till you have
more.
kids.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I can't wait for that one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a piece around it's interesting, right? Like I thought I was controlling my emotions more than I was. And I think there are like these developmental layers, right? If you try to control someone in jujitsu using force, sure, you can control them
Mm.
until you have someone stronger and you
Yep.
realize that your force does not work on them. Right. And so there has to be a different strategy, right? And so usually like in the developmental journey in the men's work, we get to a place where the control is like an interesting word. Like what does it mean to control? But there's a layer of like creating a space inside where all emotions are allowed and I'm not hijacked by them. I can hold them, right? So in the interesting kind of like aha for most guys is when they realize they can come out of a binary state of emotion, which is like if I asked you, how are you or how do you feel? When people ask me that question, I have the same response every time. Like, how are you? I'm like, dynamic and fluid. It
Mhm.
depends on what context you're asking me, right? Like my son was medevaced last week on a school trip. He had heat stroke and dehydration and lost consciousness.
Wow. Yeah.
That was 10 out of 10 in terms of like crisis in my family, right? Um, Incredible business win this week. My wife, after 4 years of chronic uh, health issues, post COVID and menopause, is now on the other side. Went for her first run in 4 years, right? Like she used to walk and then crash for 2 weeks. Now she's running. Huge, amazing, life transforming, 10 out of 10 on a positive, right? And then like 10 out of 10 on a negative with my son. He's okay. Like he recovered. We got him from the hospital. He's fine. But that experience, like at any moment in any context, things can be in crisis and incredible simultaneously.
Yeah.
And you will go insane trying to pick, how am I? And when I ask people, how are you? Oh, fuck. And then they tell me the story, right? And I'm like, great, let's take this story and let's create a big board and I want you to put it up in the top right corner. And then I want you, what else is going on that's going in the direction that you do want? We spend an hour of all the fucking amazing shit
Mm.
that we then put up a board. I'm like, okay, so you got this one piece that you came into this conversation so lit up about, and look at the freaking amazing shit that's going on in your life. And so the filter is oriented in this negative way. Most people are oriented this way.
Yep.
Like the negativity bias is huge, right? So fluid and dynamic, how are you? Right. And then the interesting thing is like, I'm cool, I'm good, man. I'm a black belt, and maybe you're a black belt in Taekwondo, stand up, and then you go to jujitsu, and then you're a fish out of water. And that's kind of like marriage. You know, it's like I'm great, and then I get married, and now it's a whole other context. Then you have kids, a whole other I am just
Yeah.
not equipped, you
Yeah.
know, and most fathers who are running businesses and they have kids at home, you know, and it's like, okay, so I have a marriage. I have to maintain my marriage. You have to maintain the marriage. It doesn't maintain on itself, right? Then you have
Yep.
this like relationship with kids. They have kids, plural. They're not one unit, they're multiple units, right? So you need
Yeah.
individual relationships. And then you've got your business. And then you've got this like quiet shadow fear around money that you've never cleared up and gotten clear on. What is enough? I ask everybody the same thing. How do you know you have enough?
Hmm.
And they'll tell me a bunch of feelings. And I'm like, great, well, I want a number. Tell me what the number is, you know? And it's really hard for people because there isn't any. So they never reach it, you know? So like I have people in crazy amounts of money that still feel very stressed financially. And I have people who are doing, you know, they make in a year what I make in a month and they're amazing, right? So it's a relationship. Like, what is your number? What would make you feel like you had enough? And even if you had enough, you're never gonna stop. Like if you're an entrepreneur, if you're running businesses, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna post exit," and it's like, "Yeah, for how long?"
Yep.
And then what are you gonna do? How many games or how many rounds of golf can you play?
Yep.
People need to feel a sense of purpose and connection and movement and growth and expansion and challenge. Like these are things that, and do you ever have this experience where it's like, you don't know where you're at until you do the thing and you get feedback in the real time? Like right now, I feel like I suck in jujitsu because I haven't been on the mats in a few months. And then when I get on the mat, I'll know, oh wow, I'm actually a lot better than I realize because now I'm
Yeah.
in the experience. So I lose almost like a connection to my capabilities because I haven't felt them, experienced them. There wasn't a situation that called that experience forward. Have you had that like experience
Oh
in
yeah,
yourself? Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's training for me too. It's like a lot of times intellectually and the understanding isn't always there, but that's why the somatic and like the physiology and like plugging yourself back in is so powerful. And I've trained myself to do that more and more. And it kind of sometimes if I'm too like inactive, then I'm like, oh shoot, I'm like, where am I? What's going on? And then I
Yeah.
know I have to like go do something to get myself kind of like plugged back in.
Yeah. That happens a lot for people who exit, and they have
Yeah.
all, the common kind of experiences like what drove me to get successful is this fear of not enough. I don't have enough money,
Yeah.
survival, right? This financial drive. And then when the financial is complete, those raw booster engines are done.
Yep.
So now what's the new driver? So this is where we get into like a phase of emergence where the old model of like my goal out there is very clear and crisp and I'm going to move toward it. But when you get older and you've achieved so much, the goal is not about what's out there because I try to get people to get into this emergent mindset whereas I'm going to move toward the thing that I want and I'm going to be open to see what emerges and then from that what emerges and then from that and then usually I know we're on track when they create something going wow, I never expected that
Yep.
because expectations, goals are created out of a limited frame. Like whoever you think you are and whatever you think you're capable of today is what projects out the future reality.
Mhm.
That is so small compared to what you're capable of. So some people have to let go of this. If you're running a company, obviously clearly you need goals, right? There's a very clear outcome driven, goal oriented place, right? And there's also room for an emergence, which is like, I don't know. Let's enter and see what evolves by being present, connected, playful, curious, creative, adding value, brainstorming, collaborating. And I've just watched these conversations and then boop, something comes out of it. And it's like, wow, what is that? That's
Yeah.
cool, right? And everybody gets really excited because it's like something new emerged. Hydrogen
Yeah.
and oxygen when they come together, water emerges. And so I always use that as a metaphor when someone is stuck and I don't really know and I can't seem to create. I'm like, well, take something that you're really good at it and add it to something else that you're really good at it and see what emerges,
Mm.
right? You're an amazing mathematician and then you're just a real cool, creative, collaborative networker or like a community builder.
Yeah.
I don't know when you place those two things together, what emerges. I don't, let's experiment. Let's play around with something new. And
Yeah.
that's what's happening with AI. AI is merging with people's capabilities and skills, and all this new shit's emerging that people are projecting a lot. I get really frustrated and irritated about this negativity around the future.
Mhm.
Like AI is going to wipe out the human race and all the jobs are going to go away. I mean, it's just fear mongering. The reality is we have no idea.
Yep.
And I'm just sick and tired of people parroting doomsday scenarios because that's you just hear it over and over and over again. They're just kind of like saying the same shit. And when everybody says the same shit, I start to go, it's totally not that,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Bitcoin's going to $1 million this year. Everybody said the same shit. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yep.
I'm an optimist because you know what? Like, what's the I don't know what's the alternative? I'm going to live in this pessimistic, fear-based space,
Yep.
and my locus of control is outside of me.
Yep.
You know,
I
no one's
agree.
coming to get you.
And
You
Elon
know,
Musk said too, he's like, there's, I forget exactly what he said or how he said it, but basically, there's no downside to being an optimist, right? It's like it's just a better strategic decision to just decide to be optimistic.
yeah, because when I'm pessimistic, I'm shutting down, I'm disconnecting, I'm holding back, I'm framing the pro. This is kind of like our NLP training, right? Remember
Yeah.
the
Problem
problem
frame,
frame,
outcome
outcome
frame.
frame, right? Like
Yep.
what's wrong, who's to blame, how did this happen versus like wow what's possible here, how do I want it to be
Yeah.
different, and if it was different, how would I be as a person now, like
Yep.
state changing into like a resourceful place. And then when you're resourceful and you meet reality and you meet opportunity, wow, like
Yeah.
magic, right?
That's
When
still
you're
one of the most powerful exercises I do with clients and even myself, right? It's like just going through those questions is so powerful.
yeah,
Recalibrating. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It's funny. I was just realizing I had my buddy sent me this mug. Holy shit, we're alive.
Oh yeah, that's Andrew Horn.
Andrew
Yeah,
Horn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
yeah,
just shout out to Andrew Horn.
yeah.
Um, so I was just realizing I have that. Yeah, I mean that's at the end of the day. Wow, how
I know
cool
that
is
I know
that?
the story of how that phrase came about. It's a
Oh
great
yeah,
great
yeah,
story. Yeah,
sweet.
they were all in silence, and the insight popped in, right, and they're like, "Holy shit, we're alive!"
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah, he's a good dude.
but yeah, he's doing
Um,
amazing work too, Andrew. I saw him last year in Mexico at our friend's birthday party.
cool. I'm actually
Yeah.
heading to his birthday party next week in Mexico. He
Oh,
likes Mexico.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mexico's good. I just don't
Yeah,
like the water situation. I'm like, I don't like going to places where if I somehow have bad water on my vegetables, or you can't drink the water, obviously. That was the
sure.
same in Africa. I got really sick in Africa because I didn't realize it was that serious. Where I'm like,
Uh,
it can't be that bad if I just wash my toothbrush in the water, is it? And then like
uh,
3 days later, I'm like, I think I had like malaria. So I wasn't malaria, but I was just like
wow.
sick for like 5 days straight with some sort of parasite.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm the same like you. Everywhere I travel, I get sick in South America,
yeah,
Central America, third world countries. I don't do well.
yeah.
Uh, so
Well, John, I think it's really to wrap things up, right? One is it's wild, right? Again, we first met when I was in my early 20s, and I considered you, and I still do it as more of a mentor, right? Because you taught me a lot. It was awesome to see you and model you. And I also love the way you work with people. You're one of the few people, right? Most people, they kind of just have, like you're saying, they've been right, just cookie cutter approaches versus like it depends, right? Like everything, it depends. But there's not that many people out there, especially in the coaching world, but any world, even doctors too, right? A lot of doctors that kind of just go straight to the programming of the system and how they're trained. But I love how like when you work with people, you're just like a master martial, like Bruce Lee, right? Where it's like, oh, like let's just breathe with it for a second, let's feel it out, let's sit in silence, like the tea ceremony, and then you slowly start to see what's actually happening, right? The subtle nuances. And I love how you're animated too, right? It's like fun and playful. You're like, oh, this is cool. So it's cool that you have like
yeah,
that
thank you.
depth and
Yeah.
to see the subtleties, but also you still keep it like light and playful and entertaining as well, which is really powerful.
It's a lot easier to do difficult things when there's lightness.
Yeah.
Right. Like whether that's like if I come into working with like partners in a company, like if everybody's heavy and we're trying to kind of work through things or even come into like a strategy conversation and the energy is not, +3 or 2, and it doesn't have to be 10, but it's got to be a plus 1, 2, or
Yep.
3, right? And so you always have to find a lighter frame. Things are way easier working with your if you want to work through a difficult conversation with your partner, don't do it when you're fighting. Go for a
Yep.
hike, go for a walk, go for dinner, go see a comedy, watch a romantic movie, and then go for a walk and talk. Right? It's lighter, it's funner, it's freer, and it's easier to work through difficult conversations when there's a lightness.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when you're trying to figure out your future or goal set. Don't do it when you're in a heavy state.
Yep.
Don't do it. Like go eat an edible if you need to get fun. You go play, go to an ecstatic dance class, and
Yep.
then do it. Like change and be playful, and then do your goal setting. Right? I can't
Mhm.
tell you. I mean, people are like struggling, and then they're like, okay, we gotta do a goal. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. I'm
Yeah.
like, not now, dude. You are not going to create anything compelling from
Yep.
this place, right?
Yep.
And people don't want to hear that, They're like, dude, I need to. And it's like, yeah, you do, but we got some stuff before that, right? So,
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely, man. That's amazing. So people want to check you out or learn more or even maybe see if how they can work with you. Where can they go? To your
Yeah,
website?
just my website, johnoconnell.com. Yeah, it's
Cool.
funny. I don't have a big, it's one of those things we talked about, like, people think that social media status is
Yeah.
equal to people's competency. I've just never really cared about it. I care about doing the work, right? And so people find me through referrals, and I like that because it's kinetic. It's like
Yep.
there's a frequency of people that know people, and so the people that come usually to work with me is they're in like a certain frame of mind or a
Yeah.
consciousness, which is great. So I haven't done a lot, but I'm now shifting that because I had an old story around that. So I started a podcast called The Reframe, which is it's still in its forming stage. I haven't figured out the model yet, which is interesting. It's fun, it's creative, it's playful.
Yeah.
Um, And then, I have this team that's
Oh,
now going to start putting some social media clips out there for me.
nice.
So it's an edge for me because it's like it's not something that like I have people that I've been mentoring. They're like, I need my website, I need my social media profile. I'm like, no, you need to do good work. You need
Yeah.
good skill. Get people results first and foremost. Like, I mean, how much training do you have? Oh, I took a 2 week course. It's like you're not going to build an incredible business with 2 week course. So you've got to go and step on the path to being masterful if you want to do this. Like, don't take shortcuts, right? Start there, right? Of course,
Yep.
social media is, that can be helpful, right?
Yep.
So, but
White
yeah,
belt. And there's a syntax and a sequence for everything, right? In the right
yeah,
order.
yeah. So
Yep.
john.o'connor.com, the Reframe podcast. That's a
Yeah.
new emergent piece.
What was the
Yeah,
genesis for starting the podcast again?
so in my tea session, there was a download that came through, and I've always had a difficult time with these people would share these deep, meaningful, powerful stories, emotional stories of like, oh my God. And at the end, it's like, well, I'm starting a 3 week journey if you want to sign up here. So like there was this
Mhm.
kind of emotional arc and then sell me something.
Yeah.
And I was like, it feels covert manipulative, right?
Yep.
Now I understand you have to lead people into the sales funnel. I get that. But I was like, what's the model? What's the metaphor for me that feels aligned and feels true, right? And so what came through was if you think about the sun doesn't need me to shine light on it. It
Yep.
doesn't need me, it doesn't need anything from me. It just gives, it transmits, and I receive, right? Photons and light and warmth. We're in the Goldilocks zone around the sun. And look how much life has grown from just being in proximity to the sun, right? Not too close, not too far. And I was like, what would my presence need to be to model that? Where I'm transmitting, I'm not asking for anything in return, and you can choose to opt into a Goldilocks zone of listening, receiving from whatever's transmitted, or you can just slingshot around and head out of the solar system, or just avoid it altogether, right? It's like it's totally up to the individual to choose how close they want to get to the transmission. And then I was
Yeah.
like, that feels really good to me. It's like, wow, if I can transmit from a pure place of transmission, like let me just share some of my wisdom, my knowledge, my experiences. You can take it, absorb it, integrate it into your system, and let your system activate from that place. I
Yeah.
was like, no, podcast is a beautiful transmission. I'm not asking for anything. It's completely free. And I was like, that feels really good. It feels really easy to do that. And now I'm just trying to figure out what feels good for me, right, in terms of the transmission. And so that's like I'm in that forming stage. So
Yeah.
you'll see it change and evolve over time as I
Yeah.
begin to kind of go, huh, what is this? What does it want to be? It's like not what I want, but what wants to happen here and like listening as if it's something emerging.
Mhm.
And again, I don't have a clear vision for it. I'm just interacting with it, engaging with it, and watching what emerges. So,
Yeah. That's amazing. I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
it's amazing having you on, man. I loved
Dude, thank you. I'm
jamming with you. This is
so
great.
glad that you and I bumped into each other in Medellin, Colombia. So,
Yeah.
and that this occurred. So this is awesome. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. For
Yeah.
sure, man. And then what's your final departing message for everybody?
Oh boy. Final
Put you on the
departing.
spot. Here you go. Here's
Oh
the
my
question.
God. Yeah. Oh my God. That's a great departing message. Okay. So here's the thing that's really helped me, and it's practical. So if in the old school, remember like you had a film reel, right? Reel to reel, right? Projector. And if you were to roll out the film reel, you would have scene one over here, and then like picture, and it speeds up, right? So you have the whole film, right? So you can see the beginning of the scene and you can see the end of the movie in
Mhm.
one reel, right? People need to realize that somewhere they're in a frame of their movie of life, right? And their nervous system, their emotion, their mind, their identity is all connected to this moment. My mom, my sister, my wife, my kids, oh my God, my business, I have to pay that, all this stuff right here, right now. And to me, what has created so much space and resource and capability and agency is stepping off my timeline and recognizing this is just one moment in time, one context that I'm plugged into, and I can unplug. And I can
Mhm.
step back and go, wow. somewhere when I was a kid, I was in a context that was self-conscious, overwhelmed. Oh my God, I got broken up with, like that was devastating. She broke my heart, whatever it is, right? And then in the future, there'll be a moment where I'll be passing and I'll be saying my goodbyes and I'll be thinking about what I created. Or, you know, like my son will have a kid, whatever it is. There'll be context in the future. There's context in the past and there's context now. To be able to step out of your current context to neutral, to
Mm,
just zero. Like my
yep.
nervous system is not, it's in everything before I was born and after I'm died. And
Yeah.
I can feel the spaciousness. Now, I think this is what people taste when they do a psychedelic journey. They taste that sort of, I am so much more than I think I am.
Yeah.
I'm not this reality. I'm not these thoughts. I'm not this body. I'm not, there's this like expansive feeling, but you don't need drugs to get there. You don't need psychedelics to access that state. You and I both know this in NLP. Any state you want, you can access in the here and now. And if you can access it in the here and now, you're not gonna be able to access when you get the thing, right? So it's like you can access any state here and now. So as a daily practice, that's part of my T practice is that's the first intention is can I get off my timeline and
Mm,
back to zero, back to neutral, back to breath and being and just being an expression of the groundless ground of the quantum field of God, source, spirit, whatever your spiritual kind of a manifestation of God, of the light of the creator. Like I could just come back to being, not contextualize. I'm just this identity in this moment in time, and just that freedom to like feel a resource from there, and then come back into your client meeting, to business, building your business, to being with your kids, to being with your family, and having this like inhale and exhale. Because some people, I mean, I've spoke to people where we'll take a day when we'll step back and they're like, wow, I haven't done that in years. I'm
mm.
like, wait, you haven't sat and unplugged in years like this? Like it's the human, what's possible for humans is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Like the compensation that we do for our dysfunction is amazing. Like people just compensate around dysfunction and then they show up, but they're all
Yeah.
twisted, right? But they're still going. It's amazing, but it doesn't have to be. Like there's a different way, and it's not that far. Oh, here's the parting thing. You ready?
Yeah.
You're a lot closer than you think.
Mm,
In anything, you're so much closer than you think you are. And to me, that's my mantra. Anytime I'm doing something, oh, fuck, boy, hang on. I'm a lot closer than I think. Ooh, I'm a lot closer than I think. When you get closer, you get excited, right? It's like, so you're a lot closer than you think. And
boom.
I'll kind of leave it at that one. That one to me as a embedded state of being, better than optimism. Like it's more action, it's more resourceful than optimism, I think.
I love that. Thank you so much, John.
Yeah, man. Thank you for letting me just run with it. So this is really
Absolutely, man.
fun. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. We'll do it again sometime. Thank you.
Sounds good. Would love that. Okay, cheers.